The first step might be to clarify the motives of why it is a company wants to go down the low carbon path. I mean, really that's trying to understand the why question. Are they trying to do this to save money? Are they trying to do it to make money? Is it an aspiration around corporate social responsibility? Or is it a combination of some of those? But it's a little bit like they say, beginning with the end in mind. Why do you want to do this?
Quite often you'll find that one thing that people believe is the reason that they're doing it is not actually the real reason. We did some work a couple of years ago where we were working with an organisation where some highly motivated individuals believed they were doing this all for corporate responsibility initiatives, but in fact really the board was interested in cutting costs through better energy efficiency. Now obviously that has implications in terms of some of the interventions you want to put in place, and it's really, really important therefore just to understand, have everybody on the same page as to why you're doing this.
Sometimes the best way to kick off these discussions or to assess the motives is really to have a facilitated discussion, have a third party from another part of the business who's not directly involved, but get them to sit down with all parties, meeting of the stakeholders, and tease out what the issues are, what the conflicting agendas are, get it all out on the table. So the second step is really to define the boundaries of your business, to understand the implications of your decision. And that means assessing who are the stakeholders in your business, not just the shareholders, but the employees, the customers, or your suppliers, and then looking internally, looking at your assets and your liabilities and the functions you perform on a day-to-day basis.
Many businesses have highly complicated, porous boundaries where they're involved in joint ventures, they've got lots of links down the supply chain, sort of through other organisations that they support. There's elements which are about, is it about the buildings that the business owns, or is it about the way the business actually operates? And you need to understand at the very outset what is included in terms of a study of this kind of nature. We had an example where we were working with a client fairly recently, and they thought that their biggest carbon implication was about the property management. Actually, it's about the way that they work.
The next step is really around fact-finding or data gathering, on which you're going to base your analysis and decision-making process.
One of the important things is getting appropriate data. Many organisations actually spend the entire year trying to understand what their carbon footprint is, which leaves them with no time to actually put decisions in front of the board so they can change it. It's very important to make sure that the data, when it's generated and the requests for decisions are actually presented in a way that's meaningful to the board of directors. You'll often find positions where people get so wrapped up in collecting the data that they can't actually present it and communicate it in a way which is important for senior executives.
So the next step is probably to assess the risks and the opportunities that this decision-making around low carbon presents. And I think it's important at that stage to go back and consider again the boundaries of your business and consider the stakeholders. And remember that in the rapidly changing world, in this low carbon economy that we're evolving towards, what was an opportunity before may now be a risk, and what was a risk may now be an opportunity. The world has changed. The next step really is to build a project plan that you can integrate with your existing business goals and objectives.
The really important thing with developing a plan for a low-carbon business is that you need to make sure that the board understand it. There needs to be a business case for doing the work. There needs to be costs associated with it, and there needs to be a plan for what the interventions are going to be over the course of the year.
As part of our work, we regularly look at business plans or business cases, which have quite often overlooked some issues, such as corporate governance, regulatory requirements, even tax and accounting issues, which could present roadblocks to what might otherwise be a very successful business proposition. The next step is really to communicate the vision of your project and get the buy-in of senior management and your board.
You'll always find a board that is a mixture of people that are supportive, people that are objecting, people that are just unsure. You have to understand for each of them what is their particular area of interest and how is it that what you're presenting is going to be valuable for them going forward. As with any board presentation, it's really important to inform and educate the key board members in advance of presenting the proposition. However, in this case in particular, because the low-carbon economy is such a relatively new concept and is moving so fast, that education process becomes even more important than normal.
And in seeking that board endorsement, the board needs to know that the road towards a low-carbon economy is untried and untested. The board will need to be educated and be aware of the need to continually evaluate the risks and opportunities that this presents.
And I guess associated with that is the thing that it is not just a strategic decision, but ultimately you're looking to drive behavioural change.